Did you feel it? The urge to check your phone. That creeping thought. When is she going to say something? Can you believe that was only 20 seconds? Now we live in a world where silence feels like a waste. We are so terrified of waiting because it forces us to confront a painful question. If the opportunity opened right now, would I be actually ready for it? For me, the last decade was a constant battle between what I wanted and what I was actually ready for. In The Little Prince, there's a line that defines my journey. It's the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. Actually, I used this quote on the national pageant stage recently, but today I want to tell you the version I wasn't ready to share then. A version about the time we often hide, the time we fail, the time we wait, and the time we feel actually stuck. So I will ask you one question. Have you ever poured your soul into a rose? It can be a project, it can be a dream, but it just doesn't bloom. And we often ask ourselves, what am I doing wrong? But we rarely ask, is my capacity enough to sustain the success I'm asking for? At 17, I stared at an IELTS certificate, 6.5. To me, it was a failure. And I had that youthful arrogance that says, if I just push harder and harder, I can force the universe to give in. So I decided to retake the IELTS exam test again 30 days later. Sounds crazy, right? And in 1 month, I memorized vocabulary until my head dropped. And I walked into that exam again with dark circles under my eyes, thinking, surely I can do it because the universe owes me this now. But the results, let's guess, 6.5 again. Sounds sad, right? But that second 6.5 taught me a brutal lesson. Effort without growth is just burnout. I was trying to force a result that I hadn't grown into yet. So I stopped. I waited 4 years. In 4 years, I lived, I traveled, and I matured. So when I sat for the test again, I walked out with 7.5. And you know what? The difference wasn't the hours in the library. The difference was the 4 years I spent becoming a person who could score a 7.5. As Seneca once said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Most of us are so busy for hunting the opportunity that we often forget to check our preparation. And for me, timing is like archery. And here's the thing about archery. To launch an arrow forward, it must first be pulled backward, right? And the further you want that arrow to fly, the more tension you have to endure. So for 3 years, I felt that tension. Every time I saw a peer succeed, I felt the strings cutting deeper into my finger. I felt like I was being pulled away from my dreams, further into the dark. But I didn't realize I wasn't being held back. I was being aimed. In 2022, I finished in the top 10 of a major beauty contest in Vietnam. And people said to me that, go again now, or people will forget you. And the fear of being forgotten is a powerful drug. But I didn't join any competition because inside me, I felt hollow. And I knew that if I just join and jump into another competition right away, I wouldn't be stronger. I would just be repeating the same version of myself. And more than anything, I was so afraid of arriving too early. So I chose to disappear. For 3 years, I wasn't a beauty queen anymore. I was just a student. I was a volunteer in the remote highlands, and I was a person failing in private. And I was wasting time on my roles. No spotlights, just growth. So when I finally returned to the pageant stage, which is Miss World Vietnam 2025, I wasn't there to try my luck. I was presenting a version of myself that I has finally closed the gap between ambition and ability. And the crowd finally fit me because I had finally grown strong enough to wear it. So you see, an opportunity that arrived too early is not a gift, it's a burden. I wouldn't want to become a queen who was afraid of her own shadow, or a girl playing a role that she hadn't earned, or become who was not ready for the crowd. I didn't find the right moment. I had become the person who can handle whatever that moment demanded. So nowadays, we see 20-year-old CEOs and feels like we are decomposing in the waiting room of life. But as the saying goes, the sun doesn't rise any earlier just because you want it to. Not everything that arrives early is a blessing. Because some fruits, if picked too soon, are just bitter. So if you are sitting here today, feeling like the world hasn't noticed your hard work yet, take a breath, because maybe your arrow is still being pulled back. And maybe your rose is still gathering the strength to survive under the sun. So just enjoy. And don't just ask, when is my turn? Instead, look in the mirror and ask yourself, when the door finally opens, will I be the person I promised I would be? Because the right moment doesn't just happen to you. You become the right moment. Take your time,